All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is If Thou Hadst Known the Things Which Belong to Thy Peace. And that's taken directly from the book of Luke, the 19th chapter, when Yahweh Shai came into Jerusalem and saw the women that were weeping for him, and pretty much told them to weep for themselves and for their children, because he saw afar off the desolation of Jerusalem and the downfall and destruction of the temple and the slaying of the men, women, and children, which was a great judgment of the day of vengeance for the Lord, of the Lord. And pretty much this lesson is inspired by something you see before you. It's an article that was sent to me by, the beloved priest, young elder Amawan Gabar. And pretty much it's called Focus 2030. It tells you there, it says supporting international development actors. And pretty much it's blow by blow for, what they plan on doing for 2030. And there's a goal they have for next year. And it's a whole laundry list of things. And these devils been busy. You can't say these devils haven't been busy. It says reform of the global financial architecture. Where do we stand? And you have to understand what that's saying there, because the things that are coming are not going to be relegated to one city, town, country, continent. It's going to be something that's going to be worldwide. And that's why it's important to understand prophecy and the things that pertain to prophecy. Like here in Revelation 3:10, which we bring this scripture out a lot because it encapsulates the things that are happening today prophecy-wise. And it's letting us know that it's going to be something that's going to be global and not just something that's going to be, in one country or two countries or whatever the case may be. Revelation 3:10 says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. What is the word of the Lord's patience? Doing this work, this truth, teaching it, maintaining it, believing in it, and hoping that the Lord hurry up and destroy this place because it's evil. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. What is the hour of temptation? That great time of testing, as it states, and I believe as NLT, Apostle Tahar brings it out all the time, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Now, when you look up the Greek word for world and the Greek word for earth, it means the whole entire planet. The word for world is oikomene, which means the whole entire planet, and the word earth is globe, gay, geo, it means earth, all right, or the whole entire planet. So it's going to be a global thing. So that's why this is important. And when you see terms like global, it's talking about the so-called New World Order and the plans that they have. So it says 5 months after the summit for a new global financial pact, Focus 2030 decided to take stock of the reforms, because they're trying to reform everything, envisaged and the commitments made during this event. At a time when many developing countries are facing a contraction of their fiscal space, and this word here, fiscal, is very important, forcing them to choose between financing basic social services, combating climate change, and servicing their debts. Notice everything surrounds what? The economy. It says, what solutions is the international community implementing? Should have said, what solutions are the international community implementing? Discover Focus 2030's tracker of the commitments taken in part in Paris, to reform the international financial architecture. Because the financial architecture, or international, which is pretty much global, financial architecture is the blueprint for what they're bringing in through the finance, through the economy. Now, one word that caught my eye was fiscal, right? So I looked up the word fiscal, right? And the etymology online, it says pertaining to public revenue, from French fiscal, from late Latin, blah, 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 of belonging to the what? State treasury. Because everything is based off of the state treasury. Everything is based off of the economy. This is why these devils know that, the international banking families. That's why Myron Schopenhauer always said, give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes the laws. Because everything revolves around the economy. If you don't have an economy, you can have the strongest military, you can have whatever, but if you don't have a strong economy, eventually your empire is going to fold because you're not going to have the necessary funds to maintain it. And it goes on to say money bag, purse, which is heavy. Basket made of twigs in which money was kept. All right. Let me just put that there. Matter of fact, I kind of messed up because I had something else done. But Lord's will, I'll get it. In which money was kept. All right. So when I read this part here of the word fiscal, which means pertaining to the state treasury. Originally, it meant money bag, purse, basket made of twigs. I immediately thought about Matthew 10, which we're going to start at 5. The point is at 9. Matthew 10 and 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter you not. And that's plain as day. It's clear. It never changed. The message never changed. It's just the interpretation of the message by the Renaissance Christians, which was headed by E. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because that's what this message is for. And as you go preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. To who? To the Israelites, not to the nations. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. Now you have individuals out there that charge for this truth. Scripture say, freely you have received, freely give. It says, provide neither gold nor silver. So don't worry about, finances, because it's coming. Somehow, some way it's going to come. Of course, you're not just going to sit home and wish and hope you get a job, but you ain't looking to get one. It ain't going to come like that. I mean, it can if the Lord wants it to, but it ain't going to come like that for the most part. You have to put in the work. Faith without works is dead. Provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses. And this is not talking about, these merces that these men have, these man purses, this metrosexual, spirit that's out here. This is talking about, well, let's go to it. Let me not rant about it. Let's just go to it. The word there is zone. Zone. To be in the zone. Zone. Right? Salakia. Excuse me for that. It says a girdle, belt, serving not only to gird on flowing garments, but also, since it was hollow, to carry money in. All right, so you have a girdle around your waist, and you will put money in there. You could put papers and different things in there. That's what it meant by a purse. All right, it's the finest, because the disciples, Yahushua and the disciples, they had a treasury. An elder pastor estimated it years ago. I forget how he broke it down, but I believe, I don't remember exactly the amount he had mentioned that they had, but I remember him mentioning that they had a certain amount of money, and he had broke it down, but I don't really remember all of the details. He's good at with numbers and stuff like that. All right, so that's the first thing that came to mind. So when we go back here to the word fiscal, it says to unwrap, unfurl, unveil. I'm sorry, got the wrong. Fiscal. Originally, money bag, purse, basket made of twigs, because it's something that would go to the state treasury to help run the affairs of that particular empire or nation. So now, I also looked up the word confiscate, which is a related word, and confiscate is to appropriate for or adjudge to be forfeit to the treasury. So when they confiscate something from you, they're taking away valuable things to you to bring it into the treasury. And pretty much this is what Esau is doing today. This is why they got the world in total debt. That's why they wanted the Federal Reserve out here and the control of the money so that they can funnel everything right back to them, bring it back to their treasury. All right. Then the main point I had down here, let's see, from assimilated form of com, with, together, and fiscus, public treasury, with the public treasury. That's what confiscate means. They're taking your goods. Originally, money basket, wicker basket, see fiscal. It says, the broader sense, take from another by or as if by authority, is attested by 1819. So pretty much that's how they do it. They take it from you by authority. Why? Because it's in the books. But then when you really look at, the laws that are set up, the laws that are set up are not meant for, the average working person. We'll just deal with America to be taxed, because income and wages are two separate definitions. And there's a actual case law out there, and I forgot the name of the case law, and it actually differentiates, the meaning of wages and the meaning of income. Income can be taxed because income is gain that you get from capital that you invested. Wages is payment for your services. That's really not taxable. And there's no law that says that you're supposed to pay taxes. But, these devils, they don't play by their own rules. So I leave it at that. All right, so moving along. The next word here that I wanted to touch on, let's see, is the word developing, or to develop, or development. Right? Develop. Unroll, unfold. It says unwrap, unfurl, unveil. Reveal the meaning of, explain, from des, undo, and volupere, wrap up. To undo what's been wrapped up. So pretty much this so-called sustainable development that they're rolling out is the wave of the future that they're trying to bring on the earth, which ties into the MOTB, because everything is predicated upon, the economy. I guess today the word is predicate. I keep using it, so it keeps popping up in my head. So like it. Let me see what else I have here. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So like it. Please bear with me. All right, so we're going back to the actual article. And as we read down here, right, you have to bear with me because this is kind of small. It says International Solidarity and SDGs Agenda. And the SDG is Sustainable Development Goals, all right, for 2024. And remember, Spirit's been on Elder Pastor and other brothers to mention that 2024 is going to be really bad. And here it gives you from January all the way through December, all of the different goals, right? One of them caught my eye. I put this in the description box for you brothers out there that's really studious, and few sisters. If you want to go through it, you can go through it. I didn't read a whole lot of it. I just kind of got some, to the point of what I wanted to, highlight in this lesson. I'm gonna have to bring it up. Oh man, let's see if I can bring it up on here, because like I said, it's a little, I'm a distance away from it, so I can't really see all that small print from here. But just bear with me. 2030. Let's see. Bear with me because it's going a little slow. Excuse me. Okay, what boom is coming up. All right. Now, when you go to it, right? All right, now. There we go. Now, see with the PCs and the what you call it? You can actually, there's a way to enlarge all of that, but with these Macs, you know, it's a fucking pain in the ass. Come on, man. Just bear with me, because Satan is, you know, he's doing his thing. Wow. Just bear with me 1 second. This how you know Satan be doing his thing. But that's okay. Yeah. Alright, fuck it. Alright. January, right? It says January 15th to the 19th World Economic Forum in Davos. January 18th, Civil Kickoff Meeting. Civil 7. January 18th, G20. I can't really make this out that good. It's a lot here. Trying to make it bigger, but for some reason, every time I do that, the page gets bigger, but the that part there stays the same. But fuck it. You know, excuse my language. International Day of Education. United Nations, that's on January 30th. United Nations Economic and Social Council. All right. February, right, is and then when you see right above February, you see it says festival. And there you can see it right there. It says festival. The hell with it. Excuse my do. Right here. It says festival. And the reason why is because February is a festival month for the Romans. You know, Februa, you know, is a festival month for the Romans. All right, so it says 8th International Conference, blah, 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 Climate Change, World Social Forum, Munich Security Council. You know, if you get a chance, you could go through it all. Then in March, they have some commission on the status of women. Well, you know, they got to always push that. European Humanitarian Forum. Got April, World Health Day. That's April 7th. April 10th to the 12th, United Nations Ocean Decade Conference, whatever that is. April 16th to the 18th, United Nations Economic and Social Council. Notice they keep pushing that economical thing. April 19th to the 21st, World Bank Group International Monetary Fund Spring Meeting in Washington, D.C., so on and so forth. And you got May. Let's see if there's anything of interest. World Health Assembly, May 27th through June 1st. June, you have G7 Heads of State Summit on June 13th to the 15th. And then June 18th to the 21st, Global Health Security Conference. July, which this is the one that caught my eye. July, right? July is 80 years of the Bretton Woods Conference. And what's important about that is because the Bretton Woods Conference is what uh, established the Bretton Woods Agreement, which was that the American dollar would be the world reserve currency. And that pretty much really ended in 1971 with Nixon, because the French were tired of seeing all these paper dollars accumulate and their goods being given in service to America, and they just had a whole bunch of paper dollars, so they wanted to convert their paper dollars into silver, which was the agreement from the Bretton Woods Agreement, but, America said no, no go, and pretty much they shut that whole thing down. You could read more about it. There's a whole lot more to it. I'm not an expert in the economy. I'm not trying to be. I'm not claiming to be. I just know a few things about a few things, okay? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And also, in July, happens also to be the meeting of these international banking families, at the Bohemian Grove in Sonoma County, California, which are the last 2 weeks of July. And the Bretton Woods Agreement actually happened, in July 1st to the 22nd of 1944. All right, so during this meeting that they were hammering out the details for the world reserve currency to be the American dollar or the US dollar, part of this meeting also cut into the Bohemian Grove meeting for that year. So they're always setting up something, they were always setting up something ahead of time. It says New Hampshire to agree upon a series of new rules for the post-World War II international monetary system. International monetary system. So what this did was it put in place the American dollar or the US dollar to be the world reserve currency to pretty much catapult their future goals and future plans for the new agenda, which would be predicated, in the word of the day, upon the US dollar and the economy of the world and the future of the economy. Now, why is that important? Because when we read the scriptures, we know that one of the main things in the end would be that there would be a world system, financial system, that would entrap the whole world, and no one would be able to partake in this system, the new system, unless they agree to the terms of this contract. And the terms of the contract means having something put into your body to be able to maneuver in this new world that they're bringing in. And this is why Yahweh Shai said, not to provide, any gold or silver, as we said, read here, Matthew 10:9, provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses. Why? Because, let me see, just bear with me 1 second. I know it's in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 23:5. Let me see if there's more to it. Beautiful. Ooh, man. All right, yeah, let's start from number 1, verse 1. Proverbs 23:1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is set before thee. Right, and pretty much we are here in America. Esau's ruling, and they're pretty much they're fixing their table. The Lord is fixing his table with all the good stuff on it, and Esau's fixing his table with all his abominations. And put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite. This is also going into etiquette, etiquette. Inside joke. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Right, everything that Esau does is deceitful. There's always a catch. There's always an ulterior motive. Labor not to be rich. Why? Because it tells us, matter of fact, I'm going to come back to this. In 1 Timothy, right? Chapter 6. We're going to come back to this. Oops, what did I do wrong? I put 2 eyes. It's Timothy chapter 6 and 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and the snare, a trap. Why? Because in this society, in this world, riches equal wickedness to a certain degree. Not in every case, but for the most part, if you want to be rich in this society, you have to do things for Satan that are not very good, and they're not good for your welfare or for your well-being or for your salvation. And it's a many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That's right. That also goes with the parable that Yahushua spoke about. Salakia. The parable of the sower seed, where the riches of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and they become unfruitful. So going back to Proverbs 23:4, labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. Yeah, because they can disappear. Especially, this money system, these dollars that these, I have to say, excuse my language, these dickheads out here among Jake, they flashing racks of money, of paper money, like if that's real money. These devils, man, they did a perfect job on you fucking guys, man. As talented as a lot of these, these individuals are out here, these Jakes, they are stupid. The majority of them are just stupid. Because they really believe, they sold their soul for paper money. But anyway, that goes into another lesson. For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. That's right. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go into the book of Isaiah 19 and 14, because see, everything that you see happening right now economically is going to get harder and harder. And as the technology increases, as the scriptures say, so do the jobs decrease. And there was something in here that I was reading earlier. I wish this fucking thing would work. I was reading it earlier. Let me see if I can find that one. I'm not sure if it was in here itself, or if it was another part of here. It might have been another part in here. Where it spoke about ending poverty. And the ending poverty part, basically what that means is that they're going to provide you with, like, well, we've been bringing it out, UBIs, and those UBIs, universal basic income, you have to agree to them, you have to, get stamped, and pretty much you ain't going to be able to be self-sufficient anymore. You're going to be a permanent slave, bottom line. And that's why they want to insert that device in you so that they can keep track of you, and then of all of your transactions, everything. You won't be able to move without them, allowing you to move. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to save money like you do now. Just bear with me 1 second, Excuse me. You're not going to be able to maneuver like you want to. Pushing all this bullshit. And that's what these devils do, man. They work you to death so you can't focus on the things that are really happening, that really affect you. And, they flood you with a whole bunch of bullshit, to keep people distracted, especially in that case. I just look for a little bit more. If I don't find it, then we'll move on. But they're, so-called to end poverty. You will own nothing and you will be happy. They're slapping people in the face with their left, right, and center. But they ain't getting it. Only the elect are going to be able to get it. And even among, Esau and some of these other nations, they see it and they'll run away, but for the most part, people are just caught up in the web of Esau. Hey, like it says, the world wandered after the beast. All right? Yeah, forget about it. All right, so let's move on. Here in Isaiah 19 and 14, as this technology is increasing that Esau is bringing out, also what's happening is they're creating robots, and just this whole system and technology is taking over pretty much all of the human menial jobs and just jobs in general, which is driving people further and further into poverty. And that's what they want, because when they introduce this new system, they're going to give you everything, but you have to comply by the rules. That's why it says that no man might buy or sell save he that has the MOTB, which is the micro C hip. So it says, Isaiah 19:14, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. This is the point here, verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, this is America, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So you individuals out there among Jake that have these well-to-do jobs, that look down on Jake, just narrowly looking down on them, like as if they ain't SHIT and you're the shit. Well, guess what? You're going to find yourself in that same predicament that these so-called poor that you look down upon are going to be in. How about that? You ain't going to like that too much. And then when you find it, see, that's the thing with a fucking lowlife, like they'll be evil and they'll be merciless towards people, but then when they find themselves in a predicament where they need help or whatever the case is, they want everybody to feel sorry for them, to let the bowels of compassion, reign for them. Man, Lord's gonna do some shit on you people out here, man. Especially you jakes, you fucking bougie motherfuckers, man, out there. Because the economy is going to collapse. And they're doing it on purpose. They have a plan. Whether you accept it, believe it or not, they have a plan. And the plan, they have to collapse the old system in order to bring in the new system. And that old system is everything that the world revolves around is all based around commerce. To quote my man, or not my man, that fucking fairy, Tyrese. Got him in a fucking red dress, that motherfucker, man. You fucking piece of shit. Got him in a goddamn red dress. They turned that hoe out, man, a long time ago. But in the movie Baby Boy, he was speaking about commerce. That's what makes the world go round. And that's why Meyer Amschel Bauer said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. Because he that controls the money controls the laws. Zephaniah 1 and 10, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate. Why? Because these businesses are going to be shutting down. Now this is talking about an actual fish gate, but you could apply this today to different, different jobs. As we just read it in Isaiah 19, that there's not going to be any jobs for the head or tail to be able to do. And then howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Why? Because they're imploding. They're bringing the economy down. Matter of fact, let me look up this word crashing. Let's see what this says. The word there is shabar, which means to break. Breaking, fracture, crushing, breach, crash, ruin, shattering. Yeah, so this empire is shattering because of the economy. And that's how other empires fell. The Roman Empire fell because of that. They fell because their money was being devalued, and they didn't have enough funds to continue to pay their soldiers to continue to increase their lands and resources, because in order for them to pay for stuff, they had to conquer new lands to take the riches from those people to put into the treasury of the Roman Empire to be able to pay their soldiers to continue to expand their empire. But they only were able to go so far. So it says, how the inhabitants of Maktesh. Now, Maktesh was a silver merchant place, where they traded silver. But what happened was it collapsed. And that's what it says, how. That's why the Lord told these international banking families, how for your miseries that shall come upon you. Yalal, and the feet is starting to act up. Yalal means to howl, wail, make a howling. Why? Because people are going to be in a financial crisis so bad that they're going to be howling and yelping. Hey, there was times where you had situations where the economy wasn't doing too good, Wall Street wasn't doing too good, and you had individuals that were investors, that were, brokers and all that they would commit suicide because they put their whole trust in that money. That's what it says, don't set your mind upon things, uncertain things, because the riches make themselves wings. So it says, how the inhabitants of Maktesh. Now, when you look up the word Maktesh, it was the actual city, Makathash. All right. It's a mortar or deep hollow. That's what they say it means. It says a hollow or valley evidently in greater Jerusalem area. And it doesn't really go into it, what it is. Let's see here. Spoken. All right. They don't really go into it here. But when you look the word Maktesh up in the scripture, online, in the different dictionaries, they kind of give you like a little insight as to what it was. Let's see. Maktesh, it says, mortar, a place in or near Jerusalem inhabited by silver merchants. See, it has been conjectured that it was the Phoenician quarter of the city where the traders of the nation resided after the Oriental custom. And they did have, a place where you had trade. All right, so this would be like the old Wall Street, of this particular city. And America is the Wall Street of the world, because Wall Street governs all of the economies of the world. And that's why they had the World Trade Center where? In New York, in America. They didn't have it in Switzerland. They didn't have it in Sweden, or other places in Europe. They had it here in America. So let's go back. Where is this at? Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of that. Okay, here we go. Get rid of that. So going back. How the inhabitants of Maktesh. It says, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off, right? And ultimately, the economy is going to collapse. But when America is destroyed, boy, these nations, they're going to really be howling. But let's look up this word merchant. The word merchant is Canaan, which goes back to Canaan, but it also goes back to, merchant, trader. It also means a merchant trader. Now here you see the word traffic, right? And the word traffic pretty much means like trade, doing business. Traffic. Use of this spelling for the verb in relation to illegal trafficking is probably influenced by the spelling of the noun trafficking. What is the definition of trafficking? To the act of buying or selling goods illegally. See, it says, and not necessarily, because trafficking, you could also apply this to just trade in general, selling in general, but they're doing that, they're using that because, you have the sex trafficking as they have down here, and it doesn't always just apply to that, it just applies to business in general, doing business. And that's why when you're traveling on the highway, you know, you're not really doing business, so you're not really operating under the same rules that a tractor trailer or somebody that's doing deliveries is. People that are driving trucks and doing deliveries and stuff like that, they're really doing, you know, they're really operating under traffic rules. The people, the regular people that's just driving back and forth, they're not really operating under the same rules, but they're all being judged by the same rules that are on the books, because it's all about making money. It ain't about morals. All right, so going back, so it says, how the inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off, and that's going to bring about plenty of, you know, devastation. Now let's move from there to Ecclesiastes 12, and I'm going to go straight to the point. 12:3 it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. What are the keepers of the house? The economists. The word economy means house management. Let's go to Etam Online. Let's type in the word economy, see what comes up. And you could do this in the I think the word in the scriptures is the word steward. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm not sure. Let me see something. Just bear with me 1 second. And Abram said, Lord power, what would thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer. It should be the same thing, steward, which is a house manager. The word there is mashak. Acquisition, possession, son of possession, heir, steward. Right, possessor of my house, an example of my domestic property. Yeah, because they will be given finances to run and operate everything that goes on in the house. Let's see, before must apply from a coded sacred writer and uncommon word and not little to the word found. And they ain't really giving you much. Steward of the house. Meaning of the words I am childish. Alright, so let's go back. Let's see. This is dealing with Joseph. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house. And this is a different word for steward in the Old Testament. And the word is ayash, which just simply means man. All right, let's go back. All right, check this out. Matthew 20:8. Right, laborers in the vineyard. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, the house economist, call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. Yeah, because that's what the steward would do. He would actually make sure that everything, you know, you had the proprietor or the owner of the home. He would give the steward, the main guy, you know, a certain amount of money, you know, finances to make sure that everything is running properly, that they had the proper cleaning, you know, the substances in there, that everybody was paid, that that there was food, you know, he was the one that kept inventory on everything in the house, you know, the house manager, steward. Now this ain't the one, epitropos. Including a curator, guardian, which, you know, it goes a steward, a manager of a household, yeah, or of lands, overseer. So this is a different word, because the other word that pops up is the word economia, which economia means house manager. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me type in let's see if this comes up. Let's see, 1 Timothy 1 and 4. Let's see what that says. 1 Timothy 1 and 4. Just bear with me 1 second. And if you're bored, there's always booty shaking videos you can go to. 1 Timothy 1 and 4. Neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which ministers questions rather than godly edifying, which is in faith so do. Nah, that ain't. Right, oikonomia, which primarily signifies the household management, see? The household administration, arrangement, and distribution or dispensation. So oikos is house, and nomia is, the manager. Let's see. The Greek word oikonomia is used in the book of Ephesians 3 times. Okay, let's see, Ephesians 1 and 10. Let's try this one. Ephesians 1 and 10. It says that in the dispensation of the fullness of times he might gather together in one all things in Yahushai, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in him. Oh man. Yeah, it says dispensation, but that's not in the context that, let's see, what's the other one? And 3 and 9. Let's see what 3 and 9 says. The hell is it? 3 and 9. Yeah, they're not really giving me what I need. But just bear with me. I'm just look one more up. Economy translated. Whereas in 3 and 2 it is translated as stewardship. Yeah, there we go. 3 and 2. And there's another one that says give account of your stewardship or something like that. Yeah, Yahushai, one of the parables he spoke mentioned that. Let's see. Let's try 3 and 2. If you have heard of the dispensation, nah, that ain't it. I mean, dispensation, he is a steward. That does mean steward, the dispensation that was given to him, that's what it means, but there's another word for it. But when you go to dispensation, oikonomia, it says the management of a household or household affairs, specifically the management, oversight, administration of others' property, right? Because it doesn't really belong to them. That's why you have these brokers and different individuals in Wall Street that are receiving. Their job is to watch the stock market, and they keep an eye on the stock market for their investors. They take their investors' money and put it on sure things, and those sure things will, on top of that, give him his cut for finding these things and find his fee, but also make more money for the investor. It says the office of a manager or overseer, stewardship, administration, dispensation. There we go. Right here, see? So I guess this is the one. In other scriptures they use the word dispensation, right? But in Luke 16 it speaks about the stewardship. And this stewardship here in Luke 16, this is dealing with the unrighteous steward. That's a parable. And he said also unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. Wasted whose goods? The one that hired him, the investor. The steward wasted his goods. When you look up this word steward, right? There you go, oikonomos, which is an economist, right? The manager of a household or household affairs, especially a steward, manager, superintendent, whether freeborn or, as was usually the case, a freedman or a slave, to whom the head of the house or proprietor has entrusted the management of his affairs, the care of receipts and expenditures, and the duty of dealing out the proper portion to every servant and even to the children not yet of age. Yeah, because he was like the guy that would, that the homeowner would entrust with all of the affairs of the house, while the homeowner would be able to focus on other businesses. And that's why when we read here in Ecclesiastes 12:3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Let's look up this word keepers. Should probably be the word shamar. Yep, shamar, which means to watch. All right. So the keepers of the house here would be those brokers in Wall Street that keep their eye on the stock market to make sure that they find the best deals for their investors, so that the investor can make money and the steward can make money, or the keeper can make money. And why are they going to tremble? Because the economy is not going to do too good. There's a movie called Margin Call, which you can watch. It's a very good movie, and I believe that scripture in Luke 16 goes into it, how pretty much the steward that fucked up, he pretty much set up what's known as a fire sale. A fire sale is, when something burns down, there's stuff in there that you could still sell at a reduced price. So a fire sale in the economy pretty much means selling goods that you wouldn't normally sell cheaper, because you're trying to save the investor some money. So if you could sell off the stuff, even if he takes a hit, at least he makes money off of it. So he told him he was a good steward because he actually did the right thing. So it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. What are the grinders? These are the jobs. Cease. Why? Because they are few. And we see them, becoming fewer and fewer as each day progresses. So much so that even people that have gone to college and got big time, college degrees and all different types of certificates, they're working in fast food stores because the economy ain't doing too good. Businesses are closing. So here it is. They're just educated burger flippers. And then they're in serious debt on top of that, because there are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. What are the ones that look out of the windows? These are brokers and individuals that look for what they call futures, which are things that you invest in the stock market. And the futures, let's see if that comes up. Futures are a type of derivative contract agreement to buy or sell a specific commodity, asset, or security at a set future date for a set price. Right. So their job is to look to the future and to make the right investments. What do futures mean in stocks? Futures are derivatives, financial contracts that obligate parties to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined future date and price. Yeah. So they look for things that their investors can invest in to make money, and they look to the future. That's why it says here, and the keepers, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Let's see what it says for windows. Just curious. The word there is arabah, lattice, window, sluice, chimney, lattice, opening. And you have your lattice, and the lattice has little openings you can see through, you can look through. But just like they're peeping, as if for lurking, because you got your eye, on the prize, so to speak. Yeah, this work. All right, so that's pretty much it on that. So going back, and why are they going to be darkened? Because they're not going to have any answers. Because as in the movie Margin Call, there was the character that what's his cat's name? Can't think of his name. Stanley Tucci. He played the character where he actually was looking at the numbers, and he said there's something really bad here going on, and they dismissed him because they were firing people, and then later on they had to call him back because they saw what he saw, and they didn't listen to him at the beginning. So it says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. Yeah, the sound of the grinding, meaning the work, is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, because they're going to get up early in the morning to go to work as usual, but there's not going to be any work to go to. See? And then all of this is going to bring about pretty much this is moving everything towards the end of the world, because it says also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, because in the midst of all of this, when they're establishing this so-called New World Order with their MOTB system, at the end of all of that, Yahweh Shai is going to be coming back. And fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, right? Because man goes to his long home, because they're going, judgment is coming. And the mourners go about the streets. Yeah, because it's going to be really bad out here. These people just don't get it. But that's all right. They will get it eventually. They will get it eventually. So, like I said, I was just kind of reading through this, and I just saw some points, and it's good to know some of this stuff. You don't have to be an expert at it, but it's good to know what these devils are doing, because that gives us more of an indication too where we at in prophecy with it. Let me see, with all these things. Let me try to see. When all these, let's see if it comes up like this. Let's try this one. Nope. Yeah, I was trying to find a scripture where it says when you begin to see these things, then know that the end is near. Something along those lines. I'm not quoting it verbatim. Well, you know what? Let's end it off here in 2nd Ezra's 9. That's a good scripture. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. And it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and ending in effects and signs. And that's what we're waiting for, you know, because this is what we see. We're seeing the ending that is ending in effects and signs, and we see all the signs playing out, you know, on the world scene. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and a few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.